Karen kissed my husband during our barbecue, and I don't know what to do. So, last weekend, I decided to throw a barbecue at our place. We've been living in this quiet little suburb for about 5 years now, and I thought it'd be nice to invite a few neighbors over and make some new friends. Plus, my husband, Alaric, and I just got a new grill, and we were dying to use it. Anyway, we invited a mix of people, some old friends, and some new neighbors. Among them was Karen. Afraid? She's relatively new to the neighborhood, moved in a few months ago. Karen's the kind of person who's always a bit too friendly, if you know what I mean. She's always hanging around, chatting, and sometimes it feels like she's just trying to get too close. But I'm not one to judge people too quickly, so I figured what's the harm in inviting her? The barbecue was going great. The sun was shining, people were laughing, and the smell of grilled meat filled the air. Alaric was manning the grill like a pro, flipping burgers and turning sausages. I was mingling, making sure everyone had a drink, and was having a good time. Then, things took a turn. I noticed Karen was hanging around the grill a lot, chatting with Alaric. At first, I thought it was harmless, but then I saw it. Karen leaned in and kissed my husband on the cheek. My heart stopped. I mean, who does that at someone else's barbecue? I could see Alaric was taken aback. He quickly stepped back and looked around, clearly uncomfortable. I was furious, but I didn't want to cause a scene in front of all our guests. I mean, what would people think? So I tried to keep my cool. I walked over, smiled, and asked if anyone needed anything, but inside I was boiling. The rest of the barbecue was a blur. I just couldn't stop thinking about that kiss. Was it innocent? Was there something more to it? Why the hell did Karen think it was okay to kiss my husband? That night, after everyone left, I confronted Alaric. I couldn't keep it in any longer. Alaric, what the hell was that with Karen? I blurted out as soon as the door closed behind the last guest. He looked at me, confused. What do you mean? She kissed you, right in front of everyone. What the hell is going on? Alaric sighed and ran his hand through his hair. Look, I was just as surprised as you were. I didn't expect it, and I didn't want it. She just did it. Why would she do that? I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. I don't know, Arya. Maybe she's just overly friendly. I didn't give her any reason to think it was okay. I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to it. You're sure there's nothing going on between you two? He looked me in the eyes. I swear, there's nothing. I love you, and I would never do anything to hurt you. I sighed, feeling a bit relieved, but still angry. Okay, but we need to talk to her. This can't happen again. The next day, I decided to pay Karen a visit. I needed to clear the air and set some boundaries. I walked over to her house, my heart pounding. I knocked on the door, and after a few moments, she opened it, looking surprised to see me. Hey, Arya, what brings you here? She said with that annoyingly cheerful tone. Karen, we need to talk about what happened yesterday, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked confused. What do you mean? You kissed my husband, right in front of everyone. That's not okay. Her face fell, and she looked genuinely surprised. Oh my gosh, Arya, I didn't mean anything by it. It was just a friendly kiss. I'm so sorry if it made you uncomfortable. I crossed my arms. It did, and I need to know that it won't happen again. I promise it won't. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause any trouble, she said, looking sincere. I nodded, feeling a bit better. Okay, thank you. Just, please, respect our boundaries. With that, I left, hoping that would be the end of it. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Karen than met the eye. A few days passed, and things seemed to return to normal. Alaric and I went about our daily routines, and I tried to put the whole incident with Karen behind me. But then, strange things started happening. I'd noticed Karen's car parked near our house at odd times, and she'd always seem to pop up wherever we went. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence, but then it became too frequent to ignore. One evening, I decided to follow her. I know, it sounds crazy, but I needed to know what she was up to. So, when I saw her car drive past our house again, I grabbed my keys and followed her. She drove to a small cafe on the other side of town. I parked a little distance away and watched as she got out and went inside. After a few minutes, I decided to go in. I needed to know what she was doing. I walked in and saw her sitting at a table with another woman. They were deep in conversation, and Karen looked upset. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could tell something was wrong. After a while, the other woman got up and left, leaving Karen sitting there alone. I took a deep breath and walked over to her table. "Karen, what's going on?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked up, surprised to see me. "Aria, what are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing. Why are you following us?" She sighed and looked down at her hands. "I'm not following you. I've just been going through some stuff, and I guess I've been a bit too clingy. I'm really sorry." "What kind of stuff?" I asked, feeling a bit more sympathetic. She hesitated, then looked me in the eyes. "My husband left me a few months ago. I've been struggling to cope, and I guess I've been trying to find comfort in other people. I didn't mean to cause any trouble." I felt a pang of guilt. Here I was, thinking the worst of her, when she was just going through a tough time. "I'm sorry, Karen. I didn't know. But you need to understand. You can't just kiss other people's husbands. It's not okay." "I know," she said, tears welling up in her eyes. "I'm really sorry, Aria. I'll back off, I promise." I nodded, feeling a bit better. "Thank you. I hope things get better for you." After that conversation with Karen, things seemed to improve. She stopped hanging around us all the time, and Alaric and I started to rebuild our trust. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still off. One evening, while Alaric was out running errands, I decided to do a little digging. I went through his phone, something I've never done before. I know it's a breach of privacy, but I needed to know if there was more to this story. As I scrolled through his messages, I didn't find anything suspicious. No texts from Karen, nothing out of the ordinary. I felt a bit relieved, but then I saw an email notification pop up on his laptop. It was from Karen. I opened it, my heart racing. The email was short and simple. "Alaric, I need to talk to you. It's important. Can we meet? Karen." My heart sank. Why was she emailing him? What did she need to talk about? I decided to wait until Alaric got home to confront him. When he walked through the door, I was sitting at the kitchen table, the email open on his laptop in front of me. "Alaric, we need to talk," I said, my voice shaking. He looked at the laptop, then back at me, confused. "What's going on? Why is Karen emailing you? What does she need to talk about?" He sighed and sat down across from me. "Aria, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to worry you. But Karen's been going through a tough time, and she's been leaning on me for support. I didn't want you to think there was anything going on between us." "So, you've been talking to her behind my back?" I asked, feeling a mix of anger and betrayal. "It's not like that," he said, trying to calm me down. "She's just been needing someone to talk to. I didn't think it would cause any harm." "Well, but it did, Alaric. You should have told me. I thought we were supposed to be honest with each other." "I'm sorry, Aria. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'll cut off contact with her if that's what you want." I sighed, feeling conflicted. "I don't want you to cut her off completely. Just be honest with me. I need to know I can trust you. I promise. No more secrets," he said, taking my hand. A few weeks passed, and things started to get back to normal. Karen kept her distance, and Alaric and I worked on rebuilding our trust. But then, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, I got a call from Karen. She sounded frantic and scared. "Aria, I need your help," she said, her voice shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked, feeling a knot form in my stomach. "It's my ex-husband. He's been stalking me, and I don't know what to do." My heart went out to her. Despite everything that had happened, I couldn't just ignore her cry for help. "Where are you?" "I'm at home. Can you come over?" "I'll be there in a few minutes," I said, grabbing my keys. When I arrived at her house, she was sitting on the front porch, her face pale and scared. I walked up to her and gave her a hug. "It's okay, Karen. We'll figure this out." She told me about her ex-husband, how he'd been showing up at her house and making threats. She didn't know who else to turn to, and she was afraid to go to the police. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I asked, feeling a mix of anger and sympathy. "I didn't want to burden you. You've already done so much for me," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You're not a burden, Karen. We're neighbors, and we look out for each other." I helped her file a restraining order against her ex-husband and offered her a place to stay until she felt safe again. Alaric was supportive, and we both did our best to help her through this difficult time. Over the next few weeks, Karen started to open up more.